Hi, this is Tracy's Kitchen and Appalachian Adventures. This is part two of the prosperity message, the mistakes, misrepresentations, and misinterpretations. Okay, part two. Now, there's no preaching in the prosperity message. What it clearly says in Proverbs that the borrower is servant to the lender. The lender calls the shots. Every time you borrow some money, the lender calls the shot. They're going to tell you how much they want you to pay them back every month. If you don't pay them back, they're going to start seizing your assets. They're going to take you to court, and it's going to be a big mess. The lender calls the shot. Christians aren't supposed to be borrowing for any reason. But see, they're not going to preach that in the prosperity message because they want you to put a donation on your credit card. And you stupid Christians, stupid enough to do it. The Bible, but God did make a provision for your stupidity. He did talk about that in Deuteronomy. But some of you stupid Christians, y'all stupid enough to give a donation on your MasterCard or Visa. Okay? He said, the scripture says to give out of your increase, not out of borrowed money. But like I said, he does say something about that in Deuteronomy, because you know what? God knows the end from the beginning. He knows that some of you Christians are stone stupid, and y'all gonna do something stupid like give on your MasterCard or Visa. Okay, so actually Christians are not supposed to be borrowing money for any reason, but you see Christians borrowing money all the time, getting into debt, foreclosure all the time. Okay. Now, why hasn't the prosperity message worked for a lot of ministries? I have seen one too many ministries that are foreclosed. I foreclosed on either a building or a house or both. I've seen one too many that cannot pay the water bill. Now, when you can't pay the water bill on the building or a house, you cotton picking broke. You can't pay the water bill because there is going to be a final water bill. Let's face it, you cotton picking broke when you can't do that. But I've seen it. I've heard about it. So why hasn't the prosperity message worked for them? Why? Because God is about money management. He wants you to manage your money. See, some of these stupid preachers, they see dollar signs. Well, I want to be like this $200 million preacher. No, that's not what you have. You have 300. Your budget is $300,000 a year, but they see dollar signs. They want to be like a $200 million preacher, and they're not managing the $300,000. And then the next thing you know, the church is in foreclosures. Idiots. Look, you don't own nothing until you have a title deed. People keep saying my house. That's not your house. It belongs to the bank, okay? That house belongs to the bank. You don't own nothing until you have the title deed to that property. You don't own nothing. People keep saying, that's my cow. I have a Prius, and that's my cow. It's not your cow. That Ultima is not your cow. The bank owns it. Unless you paid cash for that cow or that house, you don't own cotton picking nothing. The bank owns it. And I wish you would understand that. Now, see, they're going to keep this in our face to give, tithes and offerings. I mean, it's like they don't talk about anything else. They don't even talk about sin. That's why people in church are always getting into sin. They don't even talk about sin. They don't talk about righteousness. And the Lord said to walk up right before him. But they don't talk about, first thing they talk about is money. They don't care about sin. And that's why churches are always getting in sin. Pastors killing other pastors. Bishops killing other bishops. I can name names. And not to mention all the sexual sins and abortions and crap that people tell me about. Some girl slept with a married man, got pregnant, aborted the baby. They all go to church living happily ever after. Now, see, they constantly need a new supply of poor people buying into this give and get economy. Like I said, I don't have an issue with tithes and offerings. I think, as a Christian, you should invest in the kingdom. You should do that if you're a Christian. I don't have an issue with it. I don't. But see, they need a constant supply of a new crop of poor people who are willing to pay for hope. And the truth is, God does not work like that. That's why when you got your $100 check, you didn't get $10,000. Okay. And it seems blatantly unfair, because if you're a poor person, all you got is $15 to give. God's going to give, theoretically, you would say, well, God's only going to give me a little bit. So God only gives you back $35. And when you say, well, God, well, see, look, if they give 200,000, because they got 200 million in the bank, and then God gives them back 270,000, and then you're gonna say, well, God, that's not fair. Why you only give me $35? You gave them $270,000. That's why the way they preach it seems to me that it will be blatantly unfair. Why? Because God does not work like that. That's why it seems unequal in the first place, because God does not work like that. Okay, but see, God gives you according to your economy. That one house you have may be the only house you're going to have in this lifetime. But actually, even if you're making $25,000 a year, God can give you 10 lots, 8 lots. Okay, He can give you a lot of stuff. Part 3 is next.